Progress.
Good afternoon, everyone. Check your nameplate, make sure you're sitting in the right place.
That's it.
In my face and attach a bag of pamphlets.
Just all of a sudden. Pardon us.
Our chair is somewhere, so we'll start. I'd like to bring to order the Historic Landmarks Commission regular meeting for October 22nd with a roll call, please.
Thank you, Vice Chair Uli. I'll begin with Vice Chair Uli.
Present.
Commissioner Butler,
Here.
Commissioner Drury,
Here.
Commissioner Lenvik,
Here.
Commissioner Lodge,
Here.
Commissioner McClure,
Here.
and Commissioner Ensberg.
Here.
We have quorum. Thank you.
Thank you. Brings us to the first item on our agenda, public comment. Anyone in the room who would like to address the commission on anything not on our agenda but also within our purview may do so now.
Thank you, Vice Chair Uli. At this time, I do have a couple speaker slips for in-person public comment under general. I will call Stephen Olson up to speak first. Though if anyone else would like to speak in the room, you can fill out a speaker slip along that wall and attach to the pink clipboard and bring it up to me, whether it's under general or item specific. And you'll have 2 minutes to speak.
Okay, before you start the clock, I have a couple of questions for staff. And you're saying not on your agenda? This is on 321. You can look at these if you like.
To clarify for the commission and members of the public, so general public comment is for items not on today's full commission agenda. 321 East Islay was on the consent agenda, so that's why your public comment is being heard right now, not during one of the later items. So with that, you'll have 2 minutes to speak.
Wait, my questions. Have there been any permits issued for this property?
Sir, this is not a question period. You can have 2 minutes to make your public comment, and then you have to stop speaking. This is not an opportunity for you to ask staff questions. You are free to email staff with any questions you have, but now is not the appropriate time for you to ask questions.
Well, that's very directly relative to what I'm talking about.
There's also, you can go to around and to the front to speak to the planning counter to get any answers to any questions that you have for items not
Okay,
related
I
to today's
assume
agenda.
there hasn't been any permits issued for this property, so we'll just have to go on that.
This is not a two-way street. Public comment goes to us, and it's registered and replied to accordingly.
I'm sorry, here's one.
It's not an open debate.
A couple things that concern me about this process of permitting 321 East Islay. As my understanding, there's been work done without permit, and I'm going to assume that there's no permit for grading, no permit for foundation work, and no permit for ADU at this time. The biggest thing that concerns me is that some deceptive practices on the part of the architect. On his site plan, which I also have a copy of here, which you can look at, it shows the ADU on the southern property line. I'm sorry, it shows a car, and it shows an outline of the ADU. It also shows that the garage, the ADU, the pool, and these other accessory structures around the pool are all under separate permit. So if there is no permit for those items, then I'm assuming that your approval does not include those items because that is what it shows on the drawings that were presented. There were, in fact, 2 large trees removed right along the property line. The next door neighbor was asked if they were okay to prune the trees. He said fine. That's Mark Norris, who is here with us. And they actually removed them. My understanding is there's no permit for that. There is a note note number, I believe it's 11. It says, all trees not shown here removed under ADU permit. Now, I don't know for sure, but if there is no ADU permit, I don't know how those trees could have been removed.
Sir, your time has expired. Do you have?
Okay, one thing. Dear Mr. and Miss Owner, you could make your neighbors very happy by reducing the size of the ADU by 40 or 50%. Right now, your neighbors are all pissed off at you
Through the
Excuse
chair
me.
to
of
the,
the deceptive practices. Please do that. And Commission, please don't approve this at this time. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. With that, I do only have one other speaker slip for public comment. Oh, we have another one coming up. Okay, we're going to have Paul Zink.
My
Mr.
name-
Zink, before you start, this is not going to be a debate about you responding to public comment, all right?
Okay.
So,
I'm just here to say we do have permits that have been issued on the property.
thank you.
Okay, the one other speaker slip that I have is for Ben Abrams, if you would like to come up. And if anyone else would like to speak under general, you can fill out a speaker slip at this time and bring it up to me.
Same caution goes for you.
Yep, not responding to what we heard today. What I did want to say is that we reviewed a permit for our main residence expansion in consent this morning. Not any ADU plans, and so what we're looking to get ratified during this hearing is an expansion to the main residence. I do want to say, though, that in August 27th, the last time our project was heard, we had another comment that came to full board about our consent hearing. During that, there was some salacious misrepresentations of what we're doing, and I just want to make sure that the board is aware of our posture on things, which is always seeking approval for what we're doing and not deviating from those plans. First and foremost, Greg Dolan spoke about my wife, Mary Jo, stating that our architects said to get everything that you can out of HLC, then build what you want. This was false. What we had talked to him about during our conversation on August 4th was him trying to get us to consider swapping a wooden gate for a wrought iron gate. During that conversation, we indicated that that was very expensive, that our renovation was going way above budget, and that we would stick to the cheaper option, but may consider requesting to alter it later with the HLC, if we could afford that with our budget. The second thing is multiple comments were made about importing dirt. We have not imported any dirt to our property. We have reviewed a site plan with the HLC under multiple times indicating the original elevations of our entire property, as well as the planned revisions, which are actually lower where it comes to the ADU. The fourth is unlicensed work that's been done on our property. All of our contractors are licensed. The fifth is that there's been multiple violations of our privacy bordering on harassment by these neighbors, including posting videos of private sections of our rear yard over a privacy fence to YouTube, and entering through closed gates past no trespassing signs to try to take photos and interrogate workers repeatedly. That's all.
Thank you.
With that, I do not have any more speaker slips for in-person public comment, so I will move to virtual participation. If there is anyone online that would like to speak, you can raise your hand at this time. Though I'm not seeing any raised hands, and I will state that we did not receive any written correspondence under general and give it back to you.
Thank you. Close public comment. Move on to the approval of minutes for October 8th.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
There's a motion and
Second.
a second. Any discussion, edits, comments?
Where's Cass?
Thank you, Vice Chair.
Commissioner Ansberg.
On subcommittee reports, I would like to suggest adding under Commissioner Ansberg reported on sign committee and State Street Interim Working Group, that the work with staff on the 1200 block pilot project and the West Figueroa Paseo are the two projects that we're continuing to work on. Can we add that detail?
I think that's consistent, but
Through the chair to Commissioner Ensberg, it is not our typical practice to report on the exact projects that were worked on in the subcommittee reports because it's just action minutes. We typically just say reported on those groups, and then people can view the recording to see what was discussed.
Okay. And then let's see, page 4, this was the minutes, or the comments to 1045 Summit Road. Just very minor. On the first one, I would just like to suggest that we slightly change the wording and just say, thanks to the owner and applicant for taking on this project, as it is an important for the owner and the community, and that the commission supports the direction it is going, instead of we like, just a little bit more formal. So instead of it is a wonderful refresh and addition to our community, I was just going to suggest it is an important project for the owner and the community. And the commission supports the direction it is going. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think we have staff working on those edits, and we can confirm that it was said in the recording.
And then on number 6, I was just going to suggest striking as needed. It says, study windows considering appropriate muntins within the style of the current house. I know that's minor, but forgive me. That's all I had. Thank you.
thank you. Any other comments? Roll call, please.
Thank you. I'll begin with Commissioner Butler.
Yes?
Commissioner Drury,
Abstain?
Commissioner Ensberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Lenvick,
Yes.
Commissioner McClure,
Yes.
Commissioner Lodge,
Yes.
and Vice Chair Uli.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Brings us to item C, minutes for the consent calendar of the same hearing, October 8th.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any comments? Roll call.
Thank you. I'll begin with Commissioner Drury,
Yes.
Commissioner Ensberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Lenvick,
Yes.
Commissioner McClure,
Yes.
Commissioner Lodge,
Yes.
Commissioner Butler,
Yes.
and Vice Chair Uli.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Brings us to item D, ratification of today's consent calendar, October 22nd. Is there a motion to ratify the consent calendar for today?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comment on the calendar?
I'll
Staff?
briefly go through the motion. The only item was item A, 321 East Islay, which received project design approval with the appropriate findings. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Seeing no comment, roll call, please.
Thank you. I'll begin with Commissioner Lenvick,
Yes.
Commissioner McClure,
Yes.
Commissioner Lodge,
Yes.
Commissioner Butler,
Yes?
Commissioner Drury,
Yes.
Commissioner Ensberg,
Yes.
and Vice Chair Uli.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Brings us to item E, announcements. Are there any?
Staff has a few brief announcements. The first one is just a reminder to the commissioners that you have a parking placard in front of your space. If you've not already put it in your car, please do so at this time. If you're an applicant and you believe that you will be here for longer than 2 hours, you can come to the secretary desk and get a placard for your car so that way you don't get ticketed. And placards are only available to applicants and board members, not members of the public. And then the second announcement I have is to update the commission on the request for a discussion item about the goings-on on State Street. Staff is working on putting that together, and we anticipate that we will have it come to the commission early next year, so February or January. And with that, I'll turn it over to Ms. Hernandez.
Okay, this is an announcement about, if you have not been watching, SB 130 from the state came down, and it states that if a building is not already fully designated or recognized on a register, it can be demolished without any CEQA review. So state pulled CEQA out from under us, that tool that we have. And I met with the city attorney, and her suggestion was to change the name of our historic resources inventory to historic resources register. And the definition is that it's recognized as historic resources, which they are by definition anyway, rather than going back to doing the mass designations that we did from like 2017 to 2020. So I'm taking that amendment to the zoning code to Planning Commission and Council. Planning Commission will be November 13th, and then Council will be December 10th. After I leave, Ellen will be taking it. But it is a way to protect the over 700 buildings on that inventory.
Question?
Yes,
When does this take effect, or is it in effect?
it's in effect. And yeah, they signed it through the budget by the governor on July 1st. And so I've been going to a lot of training statewide on these new housing laws, and when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, our community really relies on that as our protection, and it's not there anymore. And we will not be able to, for housing developments, we can no longer do like the 50-year review and designate it when they come in for a project. It has to be designated by the time they submit. So if you see things out there not designated, bring them up and we can start moving them forward, because one of our other safety nets is that we always review when they come in for submittal. So those are for housing projects, according to those two laws. So we're working on trying to
Are you
protect
working on
it.
some stuff that I've asked you about? I don't recall.
What would that be?
You were chasing information on a house on Garden Street, I remember that.
Yeah, yes, and that's in El Pueblo Viejo and contributing, so on the inventory. So this switch will protect that.
Okay.
Thanks.
Question also,
Yes.
Sheriff. Is that the fastest you can go?
It's the fastest I
You're
can
saying
go.
November 13th?
Yeah, that's the fastest to Planning Commission. It has to go to Planning
Yeah.
Commission because it's a zoning amendment. And then it'll go to council December 10th. And I think Tava's even writing an emergency memo to council to say we need this amendment to protect these resources. And yeah, it's pretty fast.
What's the name of that bill again?
It's SB 130.
Oh,
Yeah, it's the one that really changed our CEQA playing field for housing developments. So it's a good idea to be aware of, and we'll keep our eye on it.
Thank you. Any other announcements?
Oh, Mr. Chair, I have to leave at 3:05.
All right.
Mr. Chair, I
We'll
have
make
to
sure
leave
we're
by
done at 3 or
4:30.
4.
4:30.
All right, thank you.
I also need to leave at 4:15.
All right. We all drive that, so we'll see.
Yes.
Any other announcements? All right. Subcommittee reports. Not seeing any. All right. On to our first item, 1250 Cliff Drive. There you go.
On a branch.
Are you going to talk about our site visit this morning? All right. The project is here to request a Phase 2 Historic Structures Report determination and action on the project with no final appealable result. Staff?
Thank you, Chair Uli. I just want to mention a few things before I hand it over to the applicant team. First of all, we did do a site visit this morning at 9 a.m. as is indicated on your agenda. And for the record, I just want to note that Vice Chair Uli and Commissioners Butler, Ensberg, and Lodge attended, as well as our applicant team and property owner. So as you just read into the record, we're looking for your acceptance of a Phase 2 Historic Structures Report as is required by our Master Environmental Assessment for Historic Resources. And then secondly, this project is scheduled for Planning Commission consideration on November 13th. So we are looking for your comments ahead of that on the aesthetic appropriateness of the site improvements and development as it relates to the findings that this commission would eventually need to make for project design approval, in addition to any other comments you may have. Planning Commission will be considering a tentative parcel map, a street frontage modification for 3 of the 4 proposed lots to have no public street frontage, and a public street waiver to allow those same 3 proposed lots not to front a public street. Staff is supportive of all these items. And then one thing I want to clarify for you is that this project is a housing development project under the state's Housing Crisis Act, which places limits on the ability of a local government to restrict housing development. So as such, staff has reviewed the project against applicable objective standards and policies, which is required by the Act, and we have found the project to be consistent. Because of that, the city is prevented from imposing subjective design review requirements on the project, and is also limited to a maximum of 5 public hearings, which would include any appeal. I don't anticipate an appeal at this time, but that would be included in the 5 hearings, just to be clear. This is a concept review, but I want to be clear with you from the beginning that any inconsistency with a subjective design standard cannot be used as a means to deny the project. That's just how the current law, the Housing Crisis Act, is written. A denial would have to be based on a specific, unmitigable health and safety issue. And as this project is currently proposed, there is no such issue. That said, this applicant team has been incredibly cooperative and very sensitive to the historic resources on site, as well as to applicable design guidelines. So your comments today remain important. I have every confidence that this applicant team will take them into consideration and apply them to the project as is feasible. I just want all that out in the open from the beginning. I don't want to surprise you during PDA with this information. And then lastly, typically when we bring you a project on concept review, the application is still undergoing the application completeness process. However, in this case, due to the streamlined nature of the Housing Crisis Act law, the application has already been deemed complete. The consistency review I just mentioned has been done. So now staff is on a 60-day timeline to get a decision from the Planning Commission on the land use piece of this project. So we are headed there November 13th. We technically have until December 2nd to get that decision, but those are the constraints we're working within for this project. I just wanted to make you all aware of that. And with that, I'll hand it over to the applicant team for their presentation.
Thank you.
Really briefly before I let you turn it over to the applicant, I just wanted to remind the commission of our process because it's been a while since we've had one of these 2-part items. So you're reviewing the Phase 2 Historic Structures and Sites report in tandem with the concept designs. And so you're going to vote on the report before you make your comments, or you're going to make your comments before you vote on the report, just to make sure that none of your comments are conflicting with the conclusions of the report, because the report is not appealable. So once you accept this report, it's kind of set in stone. So just kind of keep that in mind, that none of the comments that you're making, if you're planning on voting to approve the report, that none of the comments you're making would change the conclusions of the report. And with that, I'll turn it over to the applicant.
Thank you.
Thank
we keep all that information, straight in our mind. If you
I'm
could
gonna
please
read
introduce
this.
yourself.
Yes. Vice Chair Uli and members of the commission, my name is Sarah Bronstad. I'm a land use planner at Brownstein Hyatt Farber-Schreck, here to introduce you all to this exciting infill project on Cliff Drive. And I'm going to read this just to make sure I get everything in my short little window I have. Thank you for the commissioners and staff that made it to the site visit this morning. If you could not attend, you'll see on the plans and in the materials before you today that this property is unique due to its large size, tree-lined driveway, motor court, and a 4,671 square foot craftsman house that was built between 1910 and 1920. To give you a quick permit history, in 2015, the owners submitted plans to subdivide this property into 6 lots. The city's feedback at that time, excuse me, included concerns about access and the density given the driveway configuration and the potentially significant historic residence, as no designation had been assigned to the property at that time. The owner turned his attention away from the subdivision and focused on the renovations of the Craftsman House, and he was meticulously renovated the main house and converted the original barn in the back to a second residence. HLC reviewed the plans for these renovations in 2019 and plans for a new detached 2-car garage in 2023. A Phase 1 historic report was reviewed by HLC as part of that process in 2023. And the city historian added this Craftsman House, the driveway, and motor court to the city's inventory of historic resources at that time. Today, we are pleased to present this 4-lot subdivision with lots that range from 11,966 square feet to 19,934. The owner wishes to construct 2 new residences that are architecturally compatible with the historic resource and provide the city with 4 new residential units, including 2 ADUs. The new development, or no new development, is proposed on the 2 lots that will include the Craftsman House and the converted barn residence. The project will retain the original palm tree line driveway and become the ingress for all 4 lots. Each property owner will have access and be responsible for their share of the landscaping and maintenance of the driveway and the motor court. A second driveway for egress will be 16 feet in width and utilize stone curbing to match the other curbing on site. Landscaping along the driveway will be low in height to preserve the views of the historic residence, visibility to and from Cliff Drive, and so as not to compete or crowd the trees colonnade. The original driveway included 2 stone piers in the front of each row of palm trees with stone caps that read "Grand" and "View." These caps will be installed on new stone pillars on each side of the ingress driveway entrance as part of the project. West of the dual driveways, we have a proposed sidewalk into the site to ensure pedestrian safety from Cliff Drive. As part of the project, new sidewalk improvements, stone gravity walls, and landscaping are proposed within the Cliff Drive right-of-way and will be maintained by the 4 property owners per a recorded maintenance agreement. The project has been designed to retain all of the 48 trees on the property, including 5 oak trees on lots 2 and 3, which are the only lots that we have proposed development. The proposed houses have been designed to avoid the need for grading within their critical root zones. I'm happy to introduce you to Adam Cunningham, who's here to present the architectural plans. We have our civil engineer here as well, in case you have any questions about the grading plans. And of course, we have Tim Hazeltine here to present the Phase 2 report. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Hazeltine, how are you?
Thank you. Not too bad. Just trying to take in all these changes via the state laws and how
Yeah,
it would affect
good luck.
everything. Exactly. Yes, of course, of course. So I also would like to mention that Dr. Post is in the audience, and she's in the back, and she will come up if needed. So I'm just going to, can we cursor this? Oh, we have to use this now, sorry.
You can also use your hand because it's a touch screen.
You could slide it.
Oh, there it is, sorry. One day I'll bring my glasses, but I haven't yet. So just in summary, I think it's pretty clear we had the Phase 1 report. This house was eligible because of its architecture. It's a really good example of the craftsman style, dating somewhere around 1910, probably 1911 is more likely, but it's a little unclear. So the historic elements, which has already been discussed, are the house. There's a driveway lined with sandstone curbs. There are rows of Canary Island date palms and Livistonia palms that line either side of the driveway, and there are a scattering of native oak trees. And as mentioned earlier, there was also a set of gate posts which are going to be recreated. And as noted previously, there are a number of things on the property that are not historic. One is the former barn. It was converted into residential use about 30, 40 years ago or more, and it doesn't retain, I'm kind of going over what was in the Phase 1 report, but it doesn't retain its original materials, windows and such. And the garage was built in 2023, and the remainder of the plants and trees, except for the ones detailed in the report, are basically just sort of advantageous plants that sort of came up. They're not part of a landscape scheme. So here's the house, and here's the motor court. So you can see the house back here, the barn is behind here. This is what we grandly call the motor court, which some people might just call a parking area. But it is original, or at least it dates to the early 20th century. And this is a view up from Cliff Drive towards the house. And on the right-hand side, you can see the original driveway with the sandstone curbs and the palm trees. And over here where my cursor is, I just want to highlight this house here is not part of the project. It was originally part of this parcel and sold off many decades ago, and a house was developed on it. So here's the original driveway here. Here is the partially completed driveway that's in the permit process, if I remember correctly. So this is lot 2, would be behind this house here, where these trees are. I'll just go like this. Lot 3 is over here. And currently lot 3 is just basically a field. And this is a view looking down towards Cliff Drive from the original driveway, which is here on the left-hand side. And this just summarizes the project. Lot 1 would encompass the existing historic Craftsman House. Lot 4 would be the converted barn, which is not historic. Lot 2 would be developed with a 2-story house with an ADU. And that ADU is a detached building with its own garage. Lot 3 would be developed with a 2-story house with a did I get those mixed up?
Yes, you did.
Apologies, yeah, sorry. So it's actually Lot 2. It has the attached ADU and house, and lot.
No, detached.
Detached. Thank you. Okay, and one of, sorry. I left him at the office, as I usually do. Pardon for that. Anyways, we'll go down to the palm trees, which is a little more straightforward. Most of the palm trees are staying in place. One tree is going to be relocated to the frontage of Lot 3, which would be facing towards the new driveway, the new egress driveway. These 2 sandstone piers, as already been mentioned, are going to be recreated. And we have a historic photo in the report documenting what they look like and that they existed, and I'll bring that down. It is our conclusion that the new structures are set a sufficient distance from both the house and the historic driveway to maintain that view from the street, from Cliff Drive towards the historic house, so that the public can still enjoy a view of it as they're traveling along about 40 miles an hour. But it's there and it will be visible. And there is new fencing proposed. There'll be wood plank and then sandstone walls. There'll be some sandstone walls right along the street frontage to provide a little sense of enclosure for the property. Here's the proposed lot division. So the red one is the barn. Here, that's Lot 4. We got Lot 1, the historic house. And here we have the driveway and the motor court. Here's the original driveway going out to Cliff Drive. And over here, we have the new driveway, the egress driveway going out towards Cliff Drive. Here's Lot 2 with its 2-story house and detached ADU. And then Lot 3 with the house with the attached ADU. And this is the existing Lot 2, which I'm having trouble remembering, pardon for that. And then here's looking towards the original house. As you can see, there's no historic features here. And this is Lot 3, looking towards Cliff Drive. Here's the original gate piers. It's very unclear on this image, but they do say grand view, with one pier having grand and one view having view. And this is a simulation if this project was developed. This is the spatial and sort of visual relationship of the new houses, both to Cliff Drive as well as the historic house. The historic house is this red building in the background. The original driveway is this one here that's flanked on either side by rows of palm trees. So it was our conclusion that the project was supportable and met the historic standards. There are no alterations proposed to the historic house. There are sections of sandstone curbing that are going to have to be reused on the curb area because they have to provide an entry essentially from the entrance driveway onto the egress driveway. So that's a code-required element. And what they're going to do is use the existing sandstone curbing that's going to be taken out to line those new sections of curbing that will delineate either side of the little sort of, it's not even a driveway, that will link to the new driveway with the old one. So they'll be reused in situ, on site, and very close to the original location. The other trees on the property which have been mentioned, which are oak trees, and then there's a cypress and a few others, are going to remain in situ, which is good because it helps preserve the setting of the house and enhance the setting of the historic house. And we believe that the new buildings are set a sufficient distance from the historic house to create a buffer between new construction and the historic resource. And we also are very pleased that these entry piers are going to be recreated because they'll reinstall a historic element of the property. And after the completion of the project, the historic resources on the property will maintain their historic integrity and ability and status as a resource on the City of Santa Barbara Historic Resources Inventory. So generally, we find this to be a very positive project. And that ends up my presentation.
Thank you. We'll go to public comment.
No, they have, yeah,
Do we do this in 2 steps?
Yeah, that's just his report.
yeah.
Mr. Chair, before public comment, could we insert a sufficient distance from the house as was articulated by the applicant? It says, the proposed house and ADUs are set as sufficient from the house.
Well, I meant
Please insert-
sufficient distance.
You need to have, you said distance, but we should, that should be reflected in the.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought it was about our text. I beg your pardon.
Nothing about you. That's all.
Thank you. Public comment on the historic structures report.
Thank you. At this time, I do not have any speaker slips for in-person public comment for this item, period. If anyone in the room would like to speak on this item, you can come up, specifically regarding the historic structures and sites report, you can come up to the podium at this time.
And just to clarify for the member of the public who's coming up, this would be comments on the historic structures report, not on the design. We'll open another public comment period for the design itself.
I'm sorry, say that again.
So this public comment is in response to the historic structures report, the Phase 2 historic structures report. If you'd like to comment on the design, we'll have them present the design, and then we'll open up another public comment period.
It does get a little confusing with these A-B things, so. But that is what it is.
With that, I don't have any other speaker slips for public comment. So I will turn my attention to virtual participation. If anyone online would like to speak regarding the historic structures report, you can raise your hand at this time. And I am not seeing any raised hands, and we did not receive any written correspondence for this item, so I'm going to give it back to you.
We'll close public comment on the historic structures report, come to the commission with questions. Commissioner Butler.
So a question, this came up on the site visit this morning, and I was reading the wording, the impact on significant historic resources would be less than significant, class 3. The question of the new structures, the color came up. Would, because they're gray or whatever color it is, the historical house is red, so you can see where I'm going. Would making the color of the new structures red to match the existing structure, would that further enhance the historical significance of the property itself or of the structures, or is that not relevant?
Co-Chair Uli may respond to that question. Thank you.
Seems like a question for you.
I thought so. Actually, we are supportive of a different color. Now, it could be not the color that's being proposed at the moment, but if all the buildings were painted red, then they would start looking like it was a cohesive whole historically. And if the colors are, I would just say, within sort of the craftsman, arts and crafts range, I think you're good. I do agree, though, if they were painted white with black trim, that would probably not be ideal, but we wanted some differentiation in terms of color. The building's design is really just a sort of a contemporary rendition of the vernacular style with board and batten style walls and gable rows and such, which is perfectly appropriate. But we don't want to create some sort of visual confusion between the actual historic resource and the new buildings.
Thank you.
Commissioner Ensberg.
Yes, Vice Chair, thank you. On that same issue of the color, I want to be sure, based on what the staff has said, that whatever we say now is not going to cause problems with, moving forward. I was feeling the same, that it should be in contrast, that it should not be red. And I think what they had proposed was kind of a gray. I guess we'll hear about that shortly. But as opposed to some lively color, something a little bit more, in that tone as they had presented, seemed, at least at that point in time, more appropriate. But is that something that we'll be able to discuss?
Yes, through the chair to Commissioner Ensberg, yes, you can discuss anything, regarding, as you normally would. It's just that if the project were inconsistent with some design guideline, you could not use that as a means to deny the project.
Right.
But
Okay.
once again, I have every faith in this applicant team to consider your recommendations, take them seriously, so I would.
And in terms of making a comment on the color that would conflict with the historic report, I believe the historian has stated that the color of the proposed structures doesn't have an impact on the historic report, so you could comment on the color of it without it conflicting with the conclusions of the report.
Okay.
If that's the clarifying
Okay, good.
answer to your question.
Okay. And then I had a couple other questions. Can we see the photograph of the entry piers with those beautiful caps that we saw this morning? Yeah, there it is. And could you?
She's got to switch it.
Could you talk a little bit more about, so that was the original driveway like that, right, with these piers? And then somewhere along the line, this other driveway came in, the second one. So it's like an in and an out. Can you talk about where did that other one come from, and how will that work? If these are replaced here, then how does that look with respect to this other one? You've got these two that right now, they're the same size right now. They look like they were sort of designed at the same time and intended like that. But now the one is going to get larger for the fire department, and then the other one is going to have the piers on it. So I'm wondering about that part of it, and from a historical point of view.
Co-Chair Early, may I answer?
Yes.
Thank you. The original driveway, as you noted, is the one that's depicted here, and that's the driveway on the right-hand side if you're looking up from Cliff Drive. And so they're well documented. The restoration of them close to their original location, we felt would visually kind of signify this is the original driveway and the other one is the new one. And the new driveway started construction a year or two ago, or I'm sure the team here could refresh my memory if that's incorrect, but about that time. So it's not historic, there's nothing historic about it, but we encourage them to use sandstone curbing and to keep it, as to the minimum width that would still, of course, meet the fire department's requirements. And we think this is an ideal solution because if they don't add the egress driveway, then the existing historic driveway is going to have to be widened. And then the trees will have to be moved or removed. So we felt that this was a really good option, preserves the historic driveway, provides the egress, which is code required, and it leaves all but one of the original palm trees at their original location with the reconstructed sandstone piers sort of delineating or announcing that that is the historic driveway.
Yes. Right now, when you're there, it feels, and I don't know how the other commissioners feel about it, but it feels like it was designed with the two, and then it's got this wonderful kind of a alley in the middle. So it seems like a design that was created that way, with two driveways, one on either side, but now it's not going to be like that. So I'm thinking that that's going to be a good thing to talk about a little bit more.
Well, to respond to that, the second driveway, the egress driveway, is not original. There was
No,
not
I
a
know,
driveway
I
there.
understand, I understand that,
So-
but it looks like it was.
Well, we thought that there are two ways that it's being distinguished from the original driveway in this proposed plan. One is reinstalling these sandstone piers. They'll be close to where they were. They won't be exactly where they were because Cliff Drive is not the same width, and there has been some changes to the street frontage over the last more than 100 years. And the other is that the new driveway will not include a third line of palm trees. So when you see the new driveway to the left, if you're standing on Cliff Drive, it will not have palm trees. And so we felt that was a good way to sort of distinguish the two, but not make the distinction so immense that you would have a driveway next to the historic driveway with like gray concrete curbs or something that would look just not enhancing the setting of the historic resources, the historic components, the character-defining components of the property. So we wanted it to be sympathetic in materials and design, but distinguished in sufficiently that you could tell the difference, at least from a historic preservation perspective.
Okay. So on the driveway, then the paving. So we have this requirement that is quite strict with respect to stormwater management that requires paving that is permeable.
Can I interrupt you just for a second? It
Yes,
sounds
please.
like you're venturing into the design side, so you probably should save that
Okay.
when we get to the project
Well, can I
itself.
just ask then, do they have historically an opinion about, and I don't know if we have any choice, about how the paving gets dealt with from a historical point of view?
Would that be on the new driveway or the existing historic
Well,
driveway?
throughout the whole
Yeah, well, we-
project. Can some of the existing be maintained or not, and just?
Well, I
maybe-
would leave that to the architectural team, which is a little bit outside of our purview. But, we do work on a lot of projects where driveway surfacing has to be replaced. Sometimes it's just a deficient type of material, doesn't provide enough strength for heavier vehicles. And so, there's a range of options, and most of them are, appropriate. There are the permeable pavers that have an earth tone. There are some where they have aggregate on top of a surface that's permeable. So what we're really looking for usually is just that it's sympathetic, because originally, the original driveway was dirt. So we know we can't go back to that. And and asphalt, it's a historic material from the early 20th century, but it's not a material that's usually favored in Santa Barbara if it can be avoided. And there's not a historic use. So if there was asphalt, there was some in a few places. It wasn't character defining. It was just a material that was added at some point. So when we look at surfacing materials, we look at what's feasible given the code requirements and what can be sympathetic to the historic resource without mimicking something that was there that isn't a feasible material anymore.
Okay, well, thank you for that, and my apologies. I just want to be sure that once we approve this, that we aren't in a bind later and not able to talk about things, that
I
are
understand.
constructive and helpful.
That's why I'm here.
I'll blame you then.
Yeah, you should.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Commissioner Limbeck,
I
were you
do
reaching for
have
your-
one.
I was going to make a motion to accept the Phase 2 report.
All right.
I do have one question.
Before we, pardon my interruption, Mr. Chair, before we go into acceptance of the report, we should have the applicant team present the concept and then make
hang on to that.
comments, and then you'll make the motion on the concept, and then you can make the
Correct.
motion to accept the report.
Thank you.
Chair, I do have one last question, sorry. Is do all of the, my understanding is all of the units use those two driveways to get in and out, right? Yes. Right, and is it like a one-way this way and an outway that way?
Through the,
Okay.
And just to maybe add to what Tim was saying, well, the new driveway or the gravel portion, I believe it was an effort to kind of save the existing driveway when they.
Pardon my interruption. I'm just going to need to make sure that you're speaking to the microphone and the microphone is on.
When they did the big renovations to the Craftsman House, that they had all the construction equipment going on that. And then when we were laying everything out, the fire department had to come up and say, well, we need 16 feet. And so that's what that portion is going to be on the left side. That'll be the one coming out. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so this brings us to item B, presentation of the project.
Okay. So I'm going to start with the site plan just to kind of quickly review the locations of these houses. Okay, so the ingress driveway is the historic driveway. And you see that we do have a new cut in the middle of the colonnade of trees. And that's to line up the two driveways of the Lot 2 and Lot 3. And so that provides us access to the garages of those two lots. I'll start with Lot 2. It is a two-story house. It's around 3,030 square feet. And I actually would like to just kind of start with the style of it. And this would be, we'd like to do muted colors, sort of, we were thinking of green tones on this house. It would have like a shingled siding with a stone base. And then to work with the topography of the lot, the concept is to have the garage on the lower portion of the lot, and then the main living levels above. And then the bedrooms also, the main bedroom is on the main floor, but then the three bedrooms are on the lower floor of the garage. And then we would this is more of a nod to a bungalow with the covered porch, and then we were thinking of a nice metal roof over just that porch portion, and then shingles on the rest. And then, like a single hung window everywhere. And so then I'll go to the plans of that house. So this is the main level of that Lot 2.
Could you zoom in on that, make it easier to see?
How do you zoom in? Yeah, got it.
You can also just pinch the screen because it's
It's
touchscreen.
touchscreen.
Oh, wow. Okay, it's just main level living. But you can see here on this west elevation, this is what faces that driveway. And you can see how the garage is down on the lower level, and then the main level, it's kind of reading as a one-story house as you're coming up that driveway. And then if you can see on the back side, that's where it's kind of coming down the hill. And this is the back of the garage here. So this is the elevation that you would see from the street, that we have that, let's see. Where's the?
Right here. Next one up. There you go.
Oh, there we go. So this is the street frontage. This is that existing one-story home, and then the colonnade. But this is what you saw in Tim's report, and that's our Lot 2 that you would see from the street. Are there like windows you can go to
If you hover on the icon down there, you'll see it.
Okay. Okay, so we'll go back to, this kind of shows the relation to that house in front. It kind of sits down. And there's a fence, so I don't think there'd be any issues with looking down over it, because from inside you would never really see what's going on above you. Okay, and then I'll just go to, this is in lot 3. Let me go to the color board on that. And then this would be more of a, a farmhouse with a barn. And we were proposing sort of a white color, but we can definitely discuss colors that were more acceptable. We were thinking that it would be nice to do the cedar siding or the cedar board and bat with the garage ADU portion of this design to sort of go with, well, to break up the massing, and also it would be similar to what the barn is behind on lot 4. And then this would be a white board and bat with sandstone chimney stone features, and to go with those sandstone walls that are going to be along the front. And this would have a standing seam metal roof and bronze windows, not black. And let's see. So that's, oops. And so that's the look of lot 3. And this house is I believe it's a 2,900, just above 2,900 square feet, is a living space with the 600 square foot ADU attached that's above the garage. So a nice generous front porch, and just 3 bedrooms on the second floor with the main, but this shows the main bedroom on the main floor. This shows those sandstone walls at the corner of our entry. And yeah, I think that's it. Okay, that's good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll go to public comment.
Thank you, Vice Chair Uli. At this time, I do only have one speaker slip for in-person public comment for this item, so I'll have George Zengel come up to the podium at this time. Though if anyone else would like to speak, you can bring a filled-out speaker slip up to me.
Good afternoon. I'm a neighbor. I have a couple of questions for you. Your exhibit shows that I think Lot 2 will have a 2-story house. Is that correct?
Yes.
Will that be in front of the planned development adjacent and to the east of you? And will that block their view? Number 1 question. Number 2 question. I believe your color rendering shows a 2-story house on the west side of that main entry. Is that correct?
Yes.
So if I were to live on the west side of your buildings in the single-story subdivision that exists, am I going to have a blocked view of the ocean, which I think you are trying to achieve with your 2-story? Question mark?
Yeah. Which?
Pardon? So it's going to be blocked? Well, that's not going to be real happy for me.
Pardon my
Yeah,
interruption, we
Sure.
can't have dialogue between the applicant
these are
and
just
the public
public
comment.
comments.
Yeah.
You pose your question, and then we write it down and take it under consideration.
Okay. Do I have time for another question?
Yes, you do. You got 2 minutes.
Okay. The architecture seems to be, I think you said like ranch conventional or something. Is that not casting concrete? Or could it possibly be the same as the beautiful old house? I love that house. I go past it every day. Why couldn't you do an exterior elevation very similar to that for your project? I think the neighbors would really love that. Comment.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I don't have any more speaker slips for in-person public comment. So I will move to virtual participation. If anyone online would like to speak under this item, you can raise your hand at this time. But I'm not seeing any raised hands, and we did not receive any written correspondence for this item, so I'm going to give it back to you.
Thank you. We'll close public comment on.
Chair Uli, if I could jump in
Sure.
real quickly, I just want to clarify for members of the public and the commission as well, just that impacts to private views are not within the purview of this board to comment on or consider. I just want to make that clear.
Thank you. Nobody has a right to a private view. Bring it back to the commission for questions.
Mr. Chair?
Commissioner Butler.
Could we go to, on lot number 2, slot A1.21? Can you pull that up, please? Let's see if that's the one.
A.21.
Keep going, keep going. Right there, right
Yeah.
there. Upper left, that, there's a wall that is, there's no window in that wall. I'm just, can you see the wall?
Yeah, so-
That just jumped
Yeah.
out at me. So
Yeah.
is there some thought behind that? ¿Qué
Well,
pasa?
it is a,
What's the deal?
it is a closet, so we could definitely put a window there. It just, we'd lose hanging space, but I actually know what you're looking at.
It's so prevalent. As you,
Yeah.
as you look down the other elevations, it just really is noticeable. It
Yeah.
was just something that really stood out. Okay.
Yeah.
And you have to make sure you're talking into that microphone, otherwise the guy
Oh, okay,
recording
sorry.
the.
Also, pardon my
can't hear
interruption.
you.
Through the chair to the audience, if you are going to be speaking, please do so in the hallway. The plans and the screen will still be shown out there, but we need silence in the audience so we can hear what the applicants and the board members are saying. Thank you.
Thank you. So that was one observation, okay. And then, on lot number 3, the farmhouse designer, et cetera, you select, we're getting back to color again. You select- Did I see alabaster white?
Yeah, that's just, it was, I kind of just picked some standard colors that were with the siding, but yes.
And then the ADU is a contrary, it's a habit,
It's a stained.
stained bark mulch, et cetera. And that's to distinguish that ADU specifically
Yeah.
from the,
Yeah, so the garage and the ADU will read as one structure.
one
And
structure.
then the farmhouse style there is a one-story roof between the two, but that garage and ADU, we sort of feel like it'd be nice to have the stained board and bat, similar to what the barn in the back is. Just a different color.
okay, thank you.
Other questions? Commissioner Ansberg.
Yes, thank you, Vice Chair Uli. How will you how will you make it clear which is the ingress and which is the egress?
You're talking about the driveway. I
driveway.
see.
Yes, about the driveway, yes. How will they know which way to go?
Well, the ingress, yeah, I mean, it has the,
Chair Ensberg, I believe we'll be required to coordinate that with Transportation Division. One idea is arrows on Cliff Drive. They are doing a complete redo of Cliff Drive, as you know. And so, yeah, I think it'll be an ongoing conversation with Transportation, how to handle that intersection and within the city easement.
Okay, thanks.
And we do drive on the right, so in is right and left is out.
With regard to the driveways,
Commissioner Lundberg.
pardon me,
Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, the driveways are proposed to be asphalt.
No.
No?
It's just the color on the drawing.
yeah, the graphics right now, I'm looking at are really bad, so.
I will have to, existing asphalt concrete driveway on the preliminary grading plan.
So the
proposed, what am I to expect then?
I believe the owner would like to keep the concrete driveway as is. Okay?
Then my statement that you're proposing concrete or asphalt, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
so, so the question is on the new part, what do we do? So that, I know he would love it to all be the same, but we don't know if we're going to be able to do that with,
Well,
with the
I think
requirements.
that it probably needs to be the same.
Is that a question?
Are we in questions or comments?
Can,
Probably the same.
can it be?
No, I'll wait for comments. The only question I have is the house on Lot 3 seems to be larger than maybe than they are in the rest of the neighborhood. I mean, what's it, 3,300 square feet plus garage?
Well, it's 2,900 living space plus the ADU and then the garage, yes. But, I mean, the Craftsman house is 4,600 square feet. That's on this property, on Lot 1.
Chair Lindbeck, I'd just like to add, or sorry, Commissioner Lindbeck, I'd like to add that the footprint of the house was really it was the most constrained lot. We have the 2 oak trees in the back, and then we have the 2 circles representing the critical root zone and then the hand grading zone, grading without equipment. And we also have the setback from the city's right-of-way within the first part of the driveway. As you can see, we have a large setback there. We had to maneuver a driveway in, so it really is a constrained lot. And so I think, given all the parameters and the large front area for the landscaping for Cliff Drive, we felt like the architect.
On your grading plan, sheet 1 of 2, you were there. That plan there seems smaller and more compact than the plan you're offering for the architectural site plan.
So this plan had to be revised in part because transportation asked that we relocate the driveway. So the house essentially is the same, but the shape is different. The garage, it was pushed back towards the oak tree. So it lines up with, or the driveway entrance to the garage lines up with the driveway entrance to Lot 2 across the colonnade.
Well, I look at this house footprint here and garage, and this is the architectural plan, and it's it appears visually much larger. I mean, if I look at your sheet, I don't know what is
Yeah.
the next one down there, A1.0, there, that is considerably larger than what I see on the grading plan. And the movement of a driveway to satisfy the fire department doesn't necessarily mean, or does that necessarily mean, it's a question now.
I heard it.
Does that necessarily mean that you have to increase the size of the house as well?
We still don't exceed the FAR ratio for that lot.
No, I understand that. Are we exceeding what is happening in the adjoining properties in the property, in the neighborhood? That's the question.
Given the unique nature of this property, we didn't feel it would be appropriate to emulate the pattern of development surrounding this site with 7,500 square foot lots. And originally there was 6, it was going to be a subdivision of 6, and it was reduced down to 4. And, keeping all the trees, the 48 trees.
Well, I'm just trying to gather information because the planning commission's the one that makes that decision. We're going to be more concerned with the architecture and the site planning, but to me, that's a question that will might be asked by the planning commissioners. Thank you.
So is your question trying to get that the civil drawings need to be echoing what the architecture is, or
Well,
vice versa, or
I think,
there's a difference?
I think there's enough difference there that it raises questions in my mind that I'm not, you know,
Chair Uli, if I may also interject again, we do have a revised set of civil plans. We just got them in. They didn't make it into the agenda in time, but we do have them available for the applicant to pull up in their materials if they would like to do so. It was just a more time-consuming.
we always review better when we have plans that aren't current.
Understood,
Because
understood.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot.
All right. We don't need to go there. Any other questions?
No, sir.
All right, move into comments then. Commissioner Ansberg.
Thank you, and thank you for this project. It was really interesting to see it today and learn more about this very important historical home that you've done such a beautiful job, a lot of work, and it's very apparent of what you have done. So thank you for that. I'm going to just try to be more overall, since this is concept, and we can get into a lot more detail later. But I think from an overall point of view, I would say that when thinking of it in the big picture, that you have this beautiful, very horizontal. The existing historic house has a very horizontal feeling to it. And then, of course, all the beautiful details that are, classically craftsman. And that's the primary thing. So that's the big deal. Let's just put it that way. And the other buildings should be subservient to that, in my opinion. That they should, and I like the way you've gone with it. But to try to give you sort of a big picture of what I would suggest is that they, maybe you take another look at it to make them be a little bit more in that kind of, not exactly, but they feel much more different in style. And I think you could do something more similar in style, but change the colors. So the colors could be the grays, the more muted tones, and so that they just recede back. They can be very beautiful in their detailing, so someone coming along would notice them as a beautiful house, but they would recede, and you would really, and the building in the back is the one that pops out, so that they don't take away from that beautiful historic. So that would be my suggestion, is just kind of look at it from that point as a composition together. But the challenge you have is that you want to differentiate. You don't want to make it look like, oh, this was a historic development back then. And you talked about that when we were there today. But you want to differentiate, but somehow match it in some way too, in terms of the quality and the aesthetic. So always keeping in mind it's that historic building that's what's so important, and that beautiful drive going up is just, that's so quintessential Santa Barbara. So I would just give you that as a big picture kind of thing, and see where you go with it, and then the colors, work those out later with what, as I said, kind of let them recede back and not pop forward, so that the other building is more important. And then also, we want to keep everybody happy. So even though we don't have view protection, perhaps if you went this slightly other direction, you might be, and if you go to the neighbors and see where their view is, you might be able to figure out how to do that and give them a view through that also works for you. So everybody wins in that way. And then finally, I would just say that I really appreciate the existing concrete. And that I like the idea that if possible, that the new one could also match that. So it just feels old, it has that historic feeling, not this new brick paver kind of look that even when you have a historic house, when you do that, it just takes away from the historic feeling. So, so those are my comments, and thank you again. I'm very excited about this project and fully support it.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner.
Oh, okay, so that was my main take was if those could be
Doing
darker,
it.
if your colors could be darker, they'd recede to your point. That was big on my, and that it'll be nice to see a traditional period durable landscape plan coming in the future.
Thank you. Commissioner.
Mr. Chair. Well, thank you. Well, Commissioner Ensberg took the wind out of my sails pretty much. I had written down good neighbor policy, so we already covered that. And something I can't, oh yeah, the color combinations on the beige scale, which I call just something that's good colors that are recessive as opposed to being aggressive. It seems to me in terms of the view shed, which we aren't supposed to talk about, but I will anyway. Lot number 3 seems to be the problem, and I think that what your suggestion that you both get together and see if it can be somehow manipulated, because architects can do pretty much anything, as I've seen in my 85 years on the commission. I did have a question. I'm sorry if it's okay to ask us. If there's going to be grading of a certain amount, I'm assuming that there's going to be some sort of a overseer in terms of possible historic remains. It would seem to be necessary.
Standard condition.
Yeah, it's probably a standard condition we would add to the land use entitlement.
And I think, I've looked at this house for my whole life. My parents went to parties there way in the old days, because I'm very old. And I think what you're doing is just right for the property and necessary for the housing. So you're really kind of killing two birds with one stone. But I think good neighbor policy should prevail here, at least an attempt. It's a big project in what was formerly basically a wonderful esplanade going up to the house along the alley of palm trees. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other questions? Commissioner Butler.
So first,
Comments?
thanks for the site visit this morning. It was very valuable. I appreciate the help with that. That gave us time to really get I think, a more fulsome understanding of the project. Overall, I would support the project. I think it's headed in a good direction. I support some of my fellow commissioners' comments about the color, and more in the sense of the colors reflective of the style or the design. I sort of feel that the renderings look a little modern. The farmhouse has a modern look and style, et cetera, whereas, of course, the house is original, et cetera. So if there's some way to take even use of the color to be more reflective of the period of the style or the period of the architecture, just to kind of help add a sense of age or destiny or whatever to the property. But overall, I think I would support the project at this stage.
Thank you. Commissioner Lodge.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I too think it's a very good project and a very sensitive development of the land while respecting the historic house. You're still going to be able to see it and so on. I would like to see the two new houses and the ADUs be a little more craftsman in style, and that they relate in that way, but that the colors should be muted. I like the proposed color for the house on the east side. The ADU pops out too much on the other side. The brown one, I think, is a little strong. I'd like to see that so it kind of quieter color so that it doesn't pop out at you. But as I said, this is going to be a very nice development. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other?
Yeah, I have.
Commissioner Linder.
Yeah. If you go to the site plan that catches all three of those houses, 1, 2, and 3, get the main house involved in that. When I look at the footprint of the main house, which is Craftsman, there's a simplicity to that footprint that you don't have in the houses for either Lot 2 or 3. The houses on Lot 2 and 3 are, the plan is 1960s or 70s tract house plans. They're not sensitive to the Craftsman style. And if you simply look at Lot 1 and that footprint, and then compare it to what you're proposing on 2 and 3, there's a big divergence there. And I think that if there was a way to make the plans for Lot 2 and 3 simpler and respect what really is a Craftsman style architecture, that it would end up being a happier project. And so it's a big general comment. My iPad keeps dropping out as I get down to the elevations. Show me the elevations for the house on Lot 3. Exterior elevations, yeah. So when you look at those exterior elevations, I think go to lot 2 then, yeah. What I see there, what was a little bit of concern to me, is the fact that you've got that, I guess it's a stone base, I'm not sure what it is, stone base, and the stone base, the top of the stone base is the finished floor elevation. That probably is not what would happen in a true Craftsman house. The stone base might come up as high as the base plate for the floor joists or whatever. There would be this is not a good interpretation structurally or aesthetically of what a craftsmanship house looks like, a Craftsman house looks like. I think that you've got to drop the top of that stone wall down or whatever, such that the siding of the house itself drops down and it creates a flare. Something's got to happen there, which is not now. It's a very simplistic approach, and I think that's got to be corrected at least minimum. So those are my comments. I think the subdivision of the property is good. I wish the house on Lot 3 was smaller and more compact or whatever. But that's not our jurisdiction. I understand that. But I really think that when this comes back, it's got to be more respectful of Craftsman. And then once that's done, then the colors will shape themselves out nicely, and the variation in colors will shape themselves out. But we got to get the base, we got to get the guts right to begin with. My comment.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Chair, I just want to appreciate what Commissioner Lenvick said. I think that's absolutely right, and I really appreciate that. That was kind of what I was, getting at. But I'm glad you said it that way, because that's extremely important. And then I had one other question: which review is this? Is this review number 1? Is this a review number 1, or we haven't started our review numbers?
Concepts don't count, do they?
I'm sorry,
We have 5.
We have 5 hearings. This does count as one of the hearings, yes.
Okay, but this morning does not count.
I don't think it does.
This one this morning was part of, the site visit is part of this that we're doing right now. So we're at number 1 right now.
Yes, this is number 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've only chewed up 1. Any other comments? All right. So do you want us to how do you want us to do this?
I think with the proposed suggestions for the design, you probably need to table the report or continue the report till next time so they can edit it to match the altered drawings when it comes back.
All right, that kind of makes some sense.
We can't have the report have a totally different plan than what is finally approved. They need to be carried through.
Mr. Hazeltine, I'll ask you if you think that seems consistent, based on what you've heard us talk
today?
about. Yeah.
Well, it has happened in the past when the commission is giving comments to revise the design, that we would come back in with a revised report with the new drawing set. Probably won't change the conclusions, but it might, it would reference the revised set rather than the set that we actually evaluated. So now, if the changes are really, fairly minor, then usually they don't come back in. But that's a discretion that's your discretion.
All right, thank you. Well, it seems we ought to continue the historic structures report.
Through the chair, what I would recommend is going through, summarizing the comments on the design and making that motion to continue it indefinitely. And then if the historian feels like that it would, if either historian feels that it would change the conclusions of the report or change the nature of the report, then you can continue the report or you can accept it, and then they can come back with an addendum. Is that?
Hold on.
I already told you my recommendation is to continue it rather than have an addendum. And this is why we typically don't do the phase 2 concept anymore. Yeah, we do it at PDA, but
Happened this time?
this, there is a timing issue, but still we have to have it correct.
Yeah. Commissioner Limbeck.
Yeah, it's a question for staff. We are dealing with a historic structures site report that doesn't examine the architecture?
It does.
They look for compatibility to the historic resource.
So
if it doesn't have a negative.
the historic structures site report has found that this architecture is compatible?
They did find that.
May I jump in,
Yes.
since this is unusual?
So we should be very, very cautious about encouraging or nodding positive to the historic structure staff report if we in fact don't feel that the architecture is compatible.
That's what she just said.
That's
Did you say
correct.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's okay. That's why
That's what I
you
was-
can continue it. You're going to have to see this one more time for PDA anyway, so that can go together. You just have to approve the report before PDA for the CEQA exemption.
I apologize.
No problem. It's
Being sleepy here.
All right. Let me summarize what I have written down here. And hopefully it's coherent. First, thank you to the applicant team, not only for the site visit this morning, but for taking the time to put all this together and get it in front of us. We certainly appreciate your time and effort and energy that it takes to get here. We also appreciate the fact that while you don't necessarily have to take what we're saying because of various state laws, we certainly appreciate when you do. A lot of these things I think I'll put under they should be studied. One, the architecture of the house on Lot 2 and 3 should be studied to be closer to craftsman detailing and styling than they are now. And when that is done, then the various comments about color and materials and detailing will sort themselves out because if you're following that style, you can only go that way. There was a comment about the horizontality of the overall project. That is, the existing house is more horizontal than it is vertical. And that also might sort itself out as you examine the style of the building. Whatever the color scheme is that you propose for either Lot 2 or 3 should be subservient to the primary color of the historic house so that we don't lose the historic house in the mix of all the color. If you are successful convincing the water gods that a concrete driveway is more historic than not, then we encourage a concrete driveway. But if it can't, it seems to me that a pervious concrete would probably replicate an old concrete driveway anyway, and so you might be able to get that done. You're already good neighbors, but it was brought up that you should exercise good neighbor relations with those who might have issues with your project, and so we encourage you to meet with them and sort that out.
Pardon my interruption, Mr. Chair, would you just tack on to that one, that the commission understands that that private views aren't protected and they don't have purview?
Of course,
but you can still keep the comment.
Thank you. We don't want you to have to watch the tape to find out the fact that we said private views are not guaranteed. So they're not, but work with your neighbors. This probably should go up with the thank you comments, but from what I understood from my fellow commissioners, the project is supportable. We understand the demand of housing, and this is one way to get it. There was a comment that the style of building, and I think this goes under study with respect to being more craftsman than not, that the style of the new building should be sympathetic and closer to the style of the existing building without copying it. But I think if you do craftsman successfully, you'll get that. The gate posts for the original driveway, I think it's a nice nod to put them back. However, I personally, I don't know if trying to get them back in the exact location is really going to help anybody understand that that was history unless they have a photograph of it. I think reusing them at the front driveway in some way that is sensitive and you can get it past your historian might be just as well. Did I forget anything?
No. Mr. Chair, if I might, I think that the driveways are an important part of the success of this project. And the paving materials should be the same on both driveways.
Yeah.
And while the columns or piers in the front of the existing driveway are being replaced, there might be more, there might be a better cohesion for the entry to the complex if one post is on the right side of the existing drive and the other one's on the left side of the new drive, so that the drives are now bracketed by the columns as opposed to one drive getting predominance. I think you got to study and think that through.
I would agree with that, and we'll just say that they should study that and find out what the solution should be. Commissioner McClure.
You can get a permeable subbase, and there could be joints in concrete to get the water in, so you can match that.
I think it's possible. Lots to study. Yes.
Sorry, and just to clarify for the adjustments to the comments on the gate posts in the driveway, should we adjust the comment on the driveway material to be that the commission would like to see the same material used for both driveways?
Yes.
Okay, and then for the gate post, the commission suggests putting one post on one side, on the side of the old driveway, and one on the side of the new driveway?
That is a possible solution.
Okay, as a possible solution.
But we're not designing it for them. We're just making suggestions.
Chair Uli, I also need your comments on the aesthetic appropriateness of the site improvements and proposed development as it relates to the tentative parcel map, street frontage modifications, and public street waiver. Those two are for lots 1, 2, and 4, as they have no street frontage.
So what's the commission's stand on that? I don't think we care, do we? Yeah.
I need your comments for the planning commission to consider, yeah.
Street front, I'm sorry, can you repeat those?
So lots 1, 2, and 4 do not front a public street. They're accessed via a private driveway. However, the code requires 60 feet of public street frontage for this zone. So the applicant has requested a zoning modification to not have any street frontage. And then they also need a public street waiver for those lots not to front a public street. It's kind of the same thing, but two different.
My sense is I don't think the commission really has a sense one way or the other. We support the waiver. It helps in the development plan. Am I correct?
Yes. Yes.
Anything else?
Chair?
Yeah.
Not for me, thank you.
When you were, two things, when you were talking about the style, and you were referring to the details. Could we just add also to catch what Commissioner Lenvick was talking about is, the plan. So the plan, there's classic plans, not only the materials and the details, it's the plan. And I think that's what, if I'm saying it correctly, that is what Commissioner Lenvick was getting to. So can we add the word plan in there? And
I'm happy to add the word plan. However, if they execute a craftsman style in the way that it's best done, they will address all of those issues without us having to say, now make sure you get the trim detail, make sure you get the base detail, make sure you get, right?
Yeah, understood. We're telling to study.
Yeah.
But I think in the comments that we had so far, we said study the style, details, and finishes. And so I was just wanting to add the plan, plan is a really key part of it.
Would footprint, I believe the term Commissioner Lenvick used was footprint, would.
Yeah. Plan footprint is the same. Yeah. I have no problem adding that to the comment.
And then our other new thing that we're adding, as of last time, is to be sure that the applicant reviews the tape.
Pardon my interruption. I have been advised by city staff that we allowed it for the one-time pre-app review that we did, but we're going to discourage that kind of comment moving forward because it's kind of a catch-all comment for everything that's not included in the motion, which isn't really fair to the applicants or the public or the record. So it's just understood that the applicant has the record to review for more nuance and detail, but the motion comments should be kind of black and white. So we're going to.
You're discouraging us from encouraging the applicant to review the tape for stuff we left out of our comments.
Yes, exactly, yes.
That's probably enough.
Chair Uli, I have one more comment. I understand you're supportive of the proposed subdivision. Could you elaborate? I think really all this commission would be concerned with is the location of the lot lines. I just want Planning Commission to be clear that why you're supportive of it.
I suppose we are supportive because we like housing.
Yeah.
Primarily. If we don't say that, then we're out of a job. So we're supportive of housing for sure. But the development plan is very sensitive to the historic resources in the composition of those historic resources. And that's why we are supportive of the development plan.
Great, thank you.
Am I right? All right. Did the secretary get all of that, or is there anything else anybody else wants to? Yeah, all right. So our motion will be, I believe, for an indefinite continuance of the project, which will include continuance of the Phase 2 Historic Structures Report.
I'll have you make a separate motion for that, and it can just be continue indefinitely to incorporate the revised design.
So let's do B first, the project. Looking for a motion to continue the project with the comments that we've just went over.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Thank you, Vice Chair Uli. I will begin with Commissioner Drury.
Yes.
Commissioner Ensberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Lenvick,
Yes.
Commissioner McClure.
Go on.
Sorry, it's Commissioner Lodge,
Yes.
Commissioner Butler,
Yes.
and Vice Chair Uli.
Yes.
Just to confirm, was it Commissioner Butler or Commissioner Ensberg that was the second?
No.
Oh, it was Commissioner Lodge.
Well,
Okay.
it's
I think there were two at
yeah.
once.
Somebody down there.
Okay.
There's a tie between the two of them.
Got it.
You pick
Commissioner
which one
Lodge.
you want to write down. All right. To item A, motion to continue the Phase 2 Historic Structures Report.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Second.
Just to clarify for the record, just because I'm pedantic, the motion is to continue indefinitely with the comment to incorporate the revised design.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Any comment? Roll call, please.
Thank you. I'll begin with Commissioner Drury,
Yes.
Commissioner Ensberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Lenvick,
Yes.
Commissioner Lodge,
Yes.
Commissioner Butler,
Yes.
and Vice Chair Uli.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Good luck with that. Does anybody need an environmental break?
No.
All right. No?
I need to get a more juicy iPad. 'Cause I get halfway through the drawings and they kind of blank.
Yeah, it just does me too.
Blanks out and you gotta wait to reload. Yeah. Brian Cornell. Will the world stop going around or whatever? You get more shaggy all the time. Doesn't that turn your plants off? I've been trying that, right?
I guess I could get the hammer out.
Yeah.
It's our gavel. There you go. Yeah, because we still have a hearing. This brings us to item 2, 1528 State Street. No final appealable action is going to be taken. So, let's go.
Yes, this is a one-time pre-application review, and staff has no comments at this time.
Thank you. Introduce yourself.
Brian Cornell, Miles Henry. So this is a small little lot, 7,700 square feet, that is across the street from Cantwell's, and next to, I guess it's three lots down from Arriaga. So this is an interesting one because it is AUD, but the client, David and Susan Wong, want to live downtown. So this is primarily their residence. And we have 2 additional units. So the zoning, the base zoning allows for 3 units, and that's what we're doing. So essentially, it is property line to property line on the ground floor. You can see the site plan that is on the left. And we have a small, commercial retail space and a lobby that flank the drive going in. There's a couple of palm trees that exists currently
Zoom in on it, Miles.
on State Street.
You can pinch it, move it around.
And so we're parking that commercial space, and then we're parking each residential unit. And there is some storage in the back of this, and trash, and of course, it needs 2 exits, so we have that passageway you can see that is on the left from the rear stair. The second floor, which is on your right, we have set that back from the building that is to the, actually, I'm going to stop right now and let's go to the photos first, Miles, and let's make sure everybody understands the context of this. It's where we should have started anyway. So here is the site. So I think you recently reviewed the project across the street. Ezzy Pizzato was the developer for the building that's right next door to us. So you can see that in that photo that is in the upper right, and our little one-story building that exists. Yeah, so that's Ezzy's building there. And then across the street, let's look at those photos. I think they're down, Miles. So Cantwell's across the street, and that's, of course, what you have reviewed for that location. And, of course, the Episcopal Church is down State Street from here. So that's the basic concept. So we can go back to the plan. So the second floor is 2 simple 2-bedroom units, about 1,500, 1,600 square feet. Again, have set them back from that building that is to our north. And then on the 3rd floor is the primary residence. And David and Susan Wong are, actually, Susan is involved with the Museum of Art, and David and Susan have quite a collection of Ming Dynasty art. And so we're going to have a vault associated with this in the back of the garage, and then there is going to be a gallery space on the State Street side for that, for sometimes being able to have events or whatever in this house. They also want it to reflect sort of the spirit of a traditional courtyard Chinese home. So that is why we have this courtyard, and hopefully we'll be able to structurally make it so that we can do some significant planting there. So this is basically the main living space with a guest room and that gallery, and then up on the 4th floor is the master, I guess I shouldn't say master anymore, should I? The primary bedroom. So let's go to this section so that it's clear what we're proposing there. So you can see what the basic house, we are right up against the 45-foot height limit. Obviously to facilitate as much ceiling height as we can. And then you can see in that lower section, we actually have quite an array of glass that will face towards the south and be open to that courtyard element. That gallery space, which is to the left there, which is the shed space, we want to get as much northern light into that, and so that is why that is configured the way it is. So if we go to the renderings, I think on the next sheet, just to give you a sense of the context, it sort of blends with that building above us, you can see, but basically that line right there is the property line, and so we've slightly tried to differentiate it with the white, but this is the basic massing of the building. Obviously, it builds up to the four stories in the back. And then if we look from Arriaga looking down, it's fairly compatible. I think it really just reads as a 2-story building along, 3-story building along that side, but I think the massing resulting from that shed roof helps to keep that down. And then if we look from Arriaga, this is kind of a sense of what you will get. So again, you're really not seeing much of this building because the majority of the building is the one next door to us. And then the other really relevant view is from Anacapa, and this is looking back. So there's the property, show where the property line is, Miles, yeah. So that's where the building starts. So we can go to the elevations. So that is the front of the building, so the lobby on the left, the little commercial space on the right. And then this is the back, the rear elevation that faces onto the open space there for the school. And this is the elevation that faces our adjoining neighbor. Again, we've tried to keep these openings as small as possible. I should mention, by the way, that a couple of weeks ago, we mailed all of our immediate neighbors the plans and encouraged them to get a hold of us, and we haven't heard from any of them, and I don't know if anybody is here. You didn't get, okay. Well, we'll have to find out why that is. We sent it to the immediate adjacent neighbors. And then the elevation that is to the south, there again, there's that glass. We will have to continue to work on the fenestration pattern here, but the intent is, again, to open that up to that courtyard space. So I think that concludes our presentation.
Thank you. Go to public comment.
Thank you, Vice Chair Uli. At this time, I do not have any speaker slips for in-person public comment. You can just come up to the podium and fill one out after. But if anyone else in the room would like to speak, now is the time to fill out. I have to fill out a form? Yes, and bring it up to me so I can announce your name. But you can come up first and just state your name, and you'll have 2 minutes to speak.
Okay, great, and the timer's there. Great, fantastic. Thank you. My name is Annika Dahlen, and thank you for this. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I know you usually have people fighting against it, or you're too restrictive, and so I'm going to voice something pertaining to potential leniency. I am a property owner, and I just hope that this commission mandates site polls for this project, because 4 stories, when I come to visit my property, which is 1 story, and I imagine 4 stories, it's just devastating. Devastating to the natural light that's going to be available to the surrounding buildings. It just seems not aligned with the historic nature of the block and the neighborhood. And I know there are state mandates, but hopefully this commission can come up with elegant compromises. I live in LA. I know, I'm sorry to say that, but I live in a historic preservation zone, and there was a 4-story property line to property line development going in, condos. And we worked with commissions like yours and with the historic preservation, and the developer conceded to reducing the 4-story property line to property line to 3 stories with allowances for pergolas and some minimal setbacks. So I just hope this commission will be sensitive to the neighbors, mandate sightlines, please, and maybe do a site visit, just so you can get a feel of what these multiple proliferation of 4-story developments will be doing to the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Could I ask what address? You said you're a neighbor?
Oh, yeah, but I'm undercover, in case.
Okay.
I prefer, yeah. I mean, can I remain anonymous? I own the corner. I own the corner that you beautifully showed photos of. So 2 East Arriaga.
Okay.
And through the chair to the applicant, if you were concerned about neighbors receiving notices, this was a notice item, so we did send out a public notice to.
Yeah, I mean, we had,
I just, this blue card. I got
Yes.
this, my tenants did not.
Yes, so.
They said they sent plans.
well, just to be clear, we sent plans to all the immediate adjacent neighbors, so the neighbor behind us on Arriaga, the neighbor next door on the right and on the left. Those are the neighbors that we mailed to.
And that was outside of our regular noticing
Yes,
procedure.
correct.
That was, a courtesy from the applicant. The blue card, if you scan the QR code the Friday before the agenda is posted, then it takes you to the link to the plans. So, we didn't send out plans with the mailed notice. It was just the noticing card letting you know of the hearing.
Thank you. Next up to speak, we'll have Marjorie Brule.
Yeah, that's it.
You pronounce it the right way.
Yes, my name is
Marjorie, pull that microphone down there.
Okay, Marjorie Brule, and I live adjacent to the building, 1532 State Street. Up until the end of August, I lived in New Mexico. I just moved here. My son lives here. I'm a recent widow. We looked all over for an apartment. We found this one, a wonderful, wonderful apartment. I love it. And 2 months later, I get a notice that a wall is going to be built opposite my building. Not only will it block the view, but it will block the light. All of my windows face this new construction. And what I'm hearing now is this monster building will have, in fact, 3 apartments. Is that correct?
It's
The
not
owner-
a back and forth, Marjorie.
The owner's apartment will be on 2 floors, and then, as I understand it, the second floor will have 2 apartments in it. So that's 3 apartments for this great big building that's going to really impact where I live. I'm renting. I can move out, but the owners who own this apartment will forever have the value of that apartment greatly reduced. I don't know what else I can say, except that this doesn't fit in with the block. If you walk down the street and you look at all the buildings on the other side of State Street and on the side that we're on, they're all small, very beautiful Santa Barbara buildings. I love it here. It's a beautiful town. And I'm just upset that all of a sudden I'm faced with this, I can only call it a monster, that's proposed to be built right next to me. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I do not have any more speaker slips for in-person public comment. So I will move to virtual participation, of which we do not have anybody online anymore, and we did not receive any written correspondence for this item, so I'm going to give it back to you.
All right, thank you. We'll close public comment and bring it to the commission for questions.
Okay, I'll have a question.
Commissioner Ansberg.
Thank you. What are you thinking about the windows, or what type of windows do you think they would be?
We are intending to steel windows.
Okay.
Steal from where?
And then on those
I got
windows,
it.
that one,
Dr.
the wall where
Dr.
you have the, these loft steel windows, that's what they look like to me. How big is that door that goes out into the courtyard?
Go to that.
On here.
The main one that was on the, it's on the left.
Do you want to see it in plan or in elevation?
Yeah, an elevation is fine, sure. I was just curious what, that one right there, and the bottom elevation, the doors on the left side, how tall?
Yeah, it's just 6 by 8.
These,
Oh, okay.
are we talking about these doors?
That's what you're talking about,
The
right?
glass door?
Can you point, right on the
Here.
upper left?
Yeah.
Is that, so that's like
That's an 8-foot door.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what about the garage door? What are you thinking about the garage door?
For the opening into the garage?
Yeah.
That's a good question. Probably a roll-down gate is what it will be.
So it'd be open during the day so that
Yes.
the retail or the commercial can go in
Correct.
and use the space?
Correct, and then it would have a
come down?
code, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Those are my only questions.
Any others?
Mr. Chair. I do have, the garage was my question. So you said a roll down, but are you thinking of a solid garage door, or were you thinking about something when it's rolled down you could?
I wasn't thinking solid. I guess it could be solid. Did we draw it solid? Looks like.
It looks kind of solid, but.
Yeah.
It's dark.
It is.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I took it that way.
Ornamental perforation.
Yeah,
I mean, the garage will have to be mechanically ventilated, so it doesn't have to be open.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Yes, in light of the public comments, is there any protection for air and light and circulation and? No.
I don't think the building code will have something to say about it, but likely not.
Thank you.
All right, comments?
Mr. Chair.
It's like we went on a sugar
I know.
crash or something.
Crash and burn. I have a comment. So in general, I like the design. I think I like the way that you've recessed the stories away from the street a little bit with each story. That makes the overall sense seem not as monstrous or as over ponderous or threatening or whatever. So I think that's a good approach. And putting the final in the back, that's a great image right there. It also coincides pretty well with the building next to it. So, and recognizing this upper part of State Street has a lot of large development coming its way, I don't find that this would be significantly out of proportion with what we're also anticipating would happen in the neighborhood. It is reflective of what's going on up there. So I think overall it's a good start.
Thank you. Commissioner Ansberg?
Yes. Thank you. This is, I think, a very exciting project. And I just realized I did have one other question based on what Commissioner Butler said, like in the future, so if that building to your south, because it's lot line to lot line, you do have that recess with the courtyard there, so that could potentially end up being a bit in a kind of a well, potentially, if a other building, but you've anticipated that.
Yeah.
And one thing that people maybe don't always realize is that when you have a light-colored building, you do get beautiful light bouncing off adjacent buildings that can reflect light into the space. Just a comment, but I think that I particularly like I'm intrigued by the idea of what you said about the historic Chinese courtyard idea. I think that is really an interesting idea. And I do like, of course, steel windows. I wonder what it might be like if it were had more wood going on too. That might be interesting, just in light of the idea of the ancient Chinese model that we see, So anyway, just curious about that, that could also be cool, but I really do like the steel windows as well. I think overall, you've done a really good job of, lowering, dealing with the mass, and as Commissioner Butler said, this is an area that is going to be seeing changes as we see across the street, and it is an area that is going to have more height and more density. So I think and you've backed it up to this other building to the north that is already larger. So I think that's a good approach. And I like how you've stair-stepped it down at State Street, so it does feel, more sensitive there. And what else? Oh, the garage door. I think it'd be great to to study, maybe a more residential feel, like a wooden door somehow there that could be more rustic, and maybe something like that instead of a steel roll-down type thing. But I like the way the direction is going. I think that they're very nice units, and it'll be good to get some more units downtown. So those are my comments.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner?
Yes, I reluctantly support the project. It's to Mr. Cornell's great credit that it's a beautiful project, unfortunately, except we're standing in the face of history. And they proposed a development across the street where Kentwell's Market was or will be not, is reflected across the street in this project. I guess it's because it's the only place left on State Street below Valerio where you can actually have big projects. And I'm sad to see that, being a native of Santa Barbara, but I feel for the people who live in the neighborhood.
Thank you. Commissioner Lindbergh?
Yes. What do we do? I find it really interesting that your client is is into art, and on the museum board, so on and so forth. So obviously, this home, has got to reflect their sensitivities and their concerns and their, everything they do about art. And so I'm hoping that your design will be refined more as you go along. I mean, obviously you don't see those big windows from probably any place, but, nevertheless, on that elevation, what is it? That's south elevation?
Yes.
They need to be, those huge windows need to be dealt with as if it was a more traditional kind of building they were going into. I mean, this is a modern building. You can get away with a 2x6 thin wall or whatever. If it was an older building, it would be, maybe engaged columns there. I'm just thinking, how do you take and soften all of that stuff so that someone can walk out onto the deck and point, well, look at that. Is that a Corinthian column, or is that whatever. It's you can do a lot of really nice things architectural-wise with this building that give them a lot more pleasure, or give them pleasure. I'm sure they didn't get a lot of pleasure out of this, but nevertheless, I would hope that the windows and sliding glass doors or whatever all could be more traditional in their with cut-ups or whatever. I think it would be a nice flavor to have. It'll get into Architectural Digest quicker if it's got cut-up windows than if it doesn't get cut-up windows. I'm thinking about it. And I think that occurs on all the windows. On State Street, for instance, I think the doors and windows at the commercial little space that you're going to have there. If you walk by and it was more traditional, it might be interesting. I'm not sure why the entry element has such a high plate line. Why it's so leggy. The entry area on the left of the garage door.
It's really for the stair that is going up from there, because that's the exit stair coming down into that lobby. So that's what is governing that height.
Well, that was a good idea, Ed.
And I didn't want it, I didn't want it to be too squatty. I mean,
Well, I
it's a
understand that,
balance
yeah.
between, having that stair go on up into the stair tower that's above, right?
Maybe that little window that's to the right there isn't needed. I don't know. More blank wall kind of thing. Oh, walls. How are you going to plaster some of these walls in their property line?
We're going to have to ask for permission.
Yeah.
And we know that sometimes is a problem.
Yeah, and it really is. We encountered that with a building on Lower
Chapala.
414. Was it your building?
Yep.
It finally got plastered.
It did.
But I would hate to live with a concrete block wall there for the next 40 years until somebody else builds.
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, just to that point, I mean, we realize, obviously, the neighbors to the north and the south of us are going to be impacted by this construction, and that was part of what we explained. I don't know why. I mean, maybe because you just moved there, I don't know, but we mailed it to all the condominium owners on the building to the left. But, I definitely agree that we are going to have to be cooperative with the neighbors.
Somehow we don't want to forget that when we give final approval. Looking at this west elevation, I wonder if you couldn't actually get by with fewer windows, on the third and fourth floor, the ones that are narrow windows. Do we really need those? Wouldn't a blank wall look better than a wall with windows in it?
You're talking about the elevator shaft?
Yeah.
Is that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
How do we simplify this thing and make it less busy and something that's really charming and these people want to bring their friends to it,
Completely agree, it needs work.
Well, I don't know if it needs work. I mean,
no
it's
doubt.
just.
No, it does. I mean, this is concept, and I appreciate your comments.
So I would simply say, we're gonna like it because Brian's gonna do it. Brian's gonna solve the problems. We're gonna like it
with Miles
because Brian is gonna do it, and we like what Brian does, and we won't let him get away with. We won't let him get away with blaming Miles either.
Well, and we're here to, to be part of the discussion, obviously, and to provide some different, point of view and perspective that can help the project be better. So that's the whole idea.
Yeah, and I do want to say, I didn't say this in my comments, but, that we understand the impact to the neighbor to the north, and we have pulled it back. At those second floor apartments, it's pulled back 15 feet. And I think we're 10 feet above, and, we'll continue to try to make that as compatible as possible.
Yeah.
We do have a hedge. If you'll go to the plan real quick, I apologize for jumping in here, but we definitely anticipate that we are going to need to, next floor, do a continuous planter along that property line so that at least it's a green wall and not the wall of a building.
Well, I'm all for it. I say simplify. In this case, I would say simplify is less penetrations, maybe. There's a
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
There's an artist studio out, what's the name of the street behind the Natural History Museum? Big,
Oh, yes,
what's,
that is, that studio, and whose
Yeah, what-
studio is that? Wasn't that, it wasn't Channing Peak, it was somebody.
what's the
Ray
name of that
Strong.
street?
It was Ray Strong, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know what you, it loops around, right?
Yeah.
The one-
Yeah.
Puesta
There's a
del Sol.
beautiful
That's
north-facing,
right.
north-facing, huge window. And it's kind of concealed, the lower floor is by the hedge and the property line. But it is, if I drive by, I always stop and people are honking behind me because it's so beautiful, and it was probably 30s or 40s.
I would think.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You make that turn
You-
toward-
You make a turn going north or whatever, or west, or whatever it is. It is really, really, really interesting. So
Are you suggesting that might be a precedent?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm simply saying that there's a lot of good stuff around that people will stop their car to look at and get honked at from behind. And this building should have that same character. We drive down the street and all of a sudden, look at that building. Look at that beautiful, I'm serious about it. I'm serious
I
about
know
it.
you are.
Yeah,
Mr. Levitt is responsible for many car accidents.
the,
What's your insurance like?
yeah, I tell you, I'm digressing, aren't I?
Yes, you are. I was going to give you just a little bit more rope, and then I was going to pull
I
it.
tell a lot of people who like Santa Barbara to drive on Garden Street from this intersection up to about Carrillo or whatever, and look at all these buildings that have been built in the last 20 years or whatever, mixed in with old buildings. I mean, it just blows your mind how beautiful Garden Street is as you go up here. And even some of what's-his-name's buildings are up there.
We'll forget. Well, that,
Huh? Yeah.
that's really nice for you to take us on that visual tour.
Well, what else are you going to do today, right?
Yeah. Well, we do have things to do.
Yeah.
All right.
Mr.
Any,
Chair,
any other comments?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So
Go
the
ahead.
subject of story poles came up. Is that something we need to?
Story poles are our default.
That's my point.
Correct, and because this is a one-time pre-application review, you're not making any decisions on requiring
Anything.
or waiving them today, but you can make a comment. And again, because this is a one-time pre-application, you guys aren't held to these comments, but you can comment on whether or not you feel story poles
Yeah,
would be
and I
appropriate
should
today.
mention that this is going to be a condominium, so it will go to the planning commission as well.
So all those flowering comments about great architecture don't really apply because,
Not yet.
they're just comments.
Chair,
Yeah.
could I say one other thing, please?
Puesta del Sol.
That's what I said.
Yeah, that's what we said.
Did you say that?
You weren't
Yeah.
listening.
He was too
I was
busy.
sleeping.
Can I say one other thing about the front elevation? And then back to the comments about the Chinese courtyard, which usually those were all wood, all the way up wood, and, just really beautiful. And of course, they are centuries old, and all the burning of the fire, and then the wood is affected by that, and it's just, this beautiful thing. But that was kind of, but that said, and as I said before, I really do like the steel windows as well. But I was thinking, as Commissioner Lenvik was sharing.
Digressing.
I was also thinking about, the entries there, and those two, there's the commercial space, and then there's the other door, and they're both glass. And I started thinking about, how when you're in Europe, in Italy, and where there'll be these great buildings, and they have these most amazing doors, wooden doors, and every one of them is incredible. And you have this wooden door, and that's the door that's the entry door. Everybody goes in that door.
Really cool knocker.
Yeah, or with like yes, and you go in, and then you go down the hall to your unit. And I thought about that. I thought, well, that could be something to think about as well, if, something more referencing history and more antique, and even like the beautiful doors that we see over the courthouse. So that might be another way you could bring in this element of, handcrafted. Which I think could really be special for this. And then just lastly, on the, I know Commissioner Lenbeck was saying I recognize when you have a building like this, you have opportunities for light and air on the east and the west more than you do on the north and the south, depending on how, what you're up against. On the one side, on the north side, you have that other building already there, and then on the other side, you step back with this, but whatever might come next, you don't know. And we can't see that either. We won't see much of that either at any time, really, maybe a little bit. So anyway, I just wanted to say, I recognize you got to get light, and those are your two ways of getting the light. So those are just maybe some other thoughts that since this is a pre-app, you're just kind of brainstorming different thoughts that maybe that might be another slightly different direction to go. Thank you.
Could you go to your elevation? I think it's on either State or Arriaga. Yeah, beautiful. The 3D one, I think. It's easier. I'm assuming that the tower element is the elevator, but that doesn't really read in your elevations. So it should say something. It should have a purpose rather than just an elevator shaft. And if it is just an elevator shaft, can you make it disappear to the degree that the elevator code will let you do that? Otherwise, if it can have a function, then it should have a function. I think it's a little overcooked there myself. So if you lost it for some reason, I wouldn't lose any sleep. Yeah. Right on the corner there. Yeah. No, the one right on the corner.
Oh, this quote
That.
Oh, that is.
That little nubbin at the top?
Yeah, I mean, that is a chimney element, and it was really intended to address that shed end, to sort of terminate that shed, because that's what that was, but it.
I think it needs a little study.
Okay.
All right. Any other comments? Commissioner Lodge, hold on a second.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Uli, that glass wall that looks out onto the Chinese garden, first of all, it doesn't go with the Chinese garden, but it also doesn't, for me, it seems quite inappropriate. And it's actually something that people will see driving up State Street until such time as the property next door is developed. And then I hope you've considered, how that is going to, it could make the whole thing not work at all for you.
Well, I mean, we have to assume that there will be a building that's built next door. So we absolutely have assumed that.
Okay, so the setbacks from the property line from the second floor on up I've taken that into consideration.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, well, okay, it's going to, when the property to the south gets developed, then they're going to be the same issues as for the person who lives in the building to the north. Yeah. Those are my only comments.
Thank you. We don't have any action on that, do we?
But if you could summarize the comments for the record when.
I have a question for the architect. Do you think there's ever a point where we have too much white building?
Well, I do, Bill Mahan certainly drilled this into me. I do feel that when a building reaches a certain size in Santa Barbara, that it should be white.
Yeah. Smaller buildings are.
Smaller buildings can be
whatever.
More color.
Yeah. But you look at this facade in State Street, and then we turn around and look at the other side with the market and all those buildings. I mean, it's a lot of white. It's a lot of white.
Hotel on the corner.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of white.
But there are a lot of whites.
Well, I don't know, it was a question, it was a philosophical question, nothing to do with this
Yeah.
building, you know.
And then you have landscape, it makes beautiful shadows.
I mean, I think the size of this warrants it being white, but perhaps, I mean, the building above us is definitely a sort of Navajo beige white, so I think it will at least be different from that.
All right. Sounds like we've reached the end of our commenting. I'll try and summarize it, if it is all possible. First, we want to thank the applicant and the design team for bringing this to HLC and for responding to our comments as appropriate. There was, and remind me if I've forgotten something. There was comment to study window sizing, placement, et cetera. Some feel less, some feel more. There was a comment about studying the openings to both the units and the commercial and maybe integrating those openings into the theme of the residence itself. There was also a comment about the garage door that there was some support for a solid wooden type door versus your standard, stretched metal lath kind of situation. The elevator / venting tower should be studied if it can be reduced or eliminated or have a more clear purpose, that is open deck or whatever. You'll figure it out. I didn't hear any comment about the massing and scale of the building, but I think our general comments seem to be supportive of the massing and scale of the building. There was a public comment about story poles, but we'll deal with that when there's an application actually in front of us. There was comment about the south wall arrangement of glass, and so that should be studied to fit maybe more appropriately with the style of architecture, and there were a couple of examples given. Did I miss anything?
Could you just clarify the
front
comment
door.
on the story poles? Would it just be that the commission is waiting for an official application to
Yes.
comment on the story poles? Perfect.
Because story poles are the default. The waiver is the exception.
And Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if you could include in the comments a good neighbor policy, and we encourage the architect and the neighbors to get together.
Yes.
Thank you.
Chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, to continue, which they have already been reaching out, but to continue that for the good neighborhood policy. And then on the windows, you mentioned the size and placement, but also the type. So wood versus steel.
Oh, I
know,
see, the
different-
material.
Different type of material.
So study the windows.
And I think it would be appropriate to make some mention of the fact that we are concerned about the plaster finish on the zero property line walls.
I hear that comment, but there isn't anything we can do about it. I mean, it is up to the property owners to coordinate the work to get it done, and so if they can't get it done, then the building has to be pulled back so that it can be done. So,
All right.
it seems to me that, when this project does come back as an official application, if they're unable to make an agreement with the neighboring property, then the architecture is going to have to respond to it.
Chair, one other comment is for it to have, study in all these comments we've made to maybe give it some more of a residential feel. That's what when I was mentioning about the wooden door for the garage door and then these entry doors, just to take it the edge of the commercial aspect feeling of it, the hard edge of it, and maybe try to figure out a way to have it feel a little bit more residential.
It is a residence, yeah.
I know, but it wants to feel like that.
I think that is going to be particularly challenging, but we can certainly say that the building should be studied so that it gives a sense of residential character rather than commercial character. but that, I think, will be challenging with a 4-story building. That's why it's such a great architect working on it.
Well, we don't want to keep diverging here, but there's been discussion among professionals of whether or not 4-story, 4-, 5-, and 6-story buildings should even be Spanish colonial revival. That's not indicative of what you find in any place.
Well, that's not true.
Yeah, well, that's not going to make it into the
Mediterranean
comment.
is okay, but Spanish colonial revival.
Sevilla has lots of 4 and 5-story buildings.
That's not going
We
to,
do.
that's not going to.
Sevilla.
Yeah.
All right. Let's stay in order here. Okay. We're not going to put that in the comments. That's a philosophical discussion that's going to take the rest of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm taking my notes.
I don't think that, I think I got everything. There's no motion required. All right.
Thank you.
Good enough.
Appreciate your comments very much.
I think we're done with our business. We're adjourned.
Thank you.